So Twitch.tv has this official branch of theirs called Twitch Rivals. No association to Marvel Rivals, by the way. Anyways, they're holding this event for International Women's Day. However, a number of women online, in particular, a number of female Twitch influencers, have voiced that they are offended by this event, because the game that they're going to be playing for this event is called Overcooked 2, which I actually never heard about until this news. But I guess it's a game that is entirely centric on cooking, and that seems to have offended these women. They're saying it's sexist and misogynistic for the International Women's Day game to be a cooking game. The plot twist is that the Women's Guild United actually voted on which game to play, and most of the women that voted on it decided to play this game. They were fine with it, but as mentioned, there's another section of this guild and these female influencers that's now causing a big scene. Got to be all overly dramatic about this. Got to get your social media clout by making your hot takes. Now, let me mention really quick, there are a lot of women laughing at this, seeing the memeability of it, and having a good time, and that's great. But there's also another section, as mentioned, that are genuinely getting offended by this news, by this game being picked. For example, this Twitch streamer Lucy Pancakes says, "I'm part of the Women's Guild, by the way. They know how this looks and chose to move forward with it anyway because our entire community overwhelmingly voted for it. I don't think the higher-ups realized it was going to look this bad." Someone else points out how the majority of women actually want to play this anyways. It's really not a big deal. But Lucy says, "I wish that we existed in the timeline where we could play what we want without harmful stereotypes looming overhead. Still, I don't think it was the best message to send right now with everything going on in the world." Oh my gosh, everything going on in the world right now? That's crazy. You know, women had it so much better in the 1800s. This is awful. Madam Savvy pointed out how ridiculous that take is and actually got blocked by Lucy Pancake for this. She says, "Guys, Twitch choosing a cooking game which was voted on by the members of the guild, which means women chose the game played by women, wow. But that's problematic because of what's going on in the world." That's right, choosing a cooking game is bad because of something Palestine, something Trump bad. Are you stupid? Savvy then laughing at how, to no one's surprise, as mentioned, immediately after making that response, Pancake blocked her. But here's my favorite post by Lucy Pancakes. This one is comedy gold. Of course, it wasn't intended to be, but that just makes it more funny. So here it is. She says, "Am I part of the Twitch Women's Guild? Yes. Do I feel like this was a blunder? Absolutely. Here's why. Oh gosh. We could have really done something epic. Dominated a male-occupying game. All-female Marvel Rivals teams, or BF6 Warzone, proved that we are more than just casual gamers." Oh yeah, because all of you squatting up in a full stack and stomping a bunch of solo queuers is really gonna prove that you're a competitive gamer. You're really about that life, We can see another offended person right here saying, "Great way to tell us there's not a single woman on their team, or one that feels secure giving feedback. Because how did this get released with absolutely no pushback?" You gotta love the irony of easily offended people talking about others being secure or not secure. In another exchange here, we can see this Amanda person saying, "Honest question, were there any women at the brainstorming session for this campaign?" And once again, we have Savvy responding, saying, "The women voted for it because women like the game. What's wrong? Are women not allowed to like certain games now?" And Amanda replies to Savvy and says, you all can't understand that the problem isn't the game itself. I even love it. It's posting it associated with Women's Day. We know the community we have, and that in any game we hear 'go to the kitchen, wash the dishes' to belittle us. The campaign model was biased to get engagement, and the justification was it was their decision, but in the end, the brand is the one who approves it." Here's another one. "I'm going to say it. Oh no. She's going to say it, guys. You ready for this? This was a bad idea. With the heightened misogyny and history of how women are treated in gaming, this would have been the perfect time to showcase our skills and competitiveness." So all of this has been a pretty amusing situation. However, as a man, I also find something else funny about all of this too. And that is the stark difference between International Men's Day and International Women's Day. For example, every year, I always forget International Men's Day is even a thing, up until that day actually comes around, and I see a bunch of miserable people online talking about how much they hate men. This has resulted in an annual tradition of sorts on the channel, where on International Men's Day, I do a brief compilation of those sort of posts, a bit of commentary, and call it there. It basically just ends up being an easy content day, and I wrap it up by giving my best wishes to the bros out there. This is to say that, yeah, for most of us, we don't really do anything to celebrate International Men's Day at all. So it's pretty funny that for International Women's Day, there's this entire Twitch guild and an event sponsored by Twitch itself, which is owned by Amazon, doing special events and stuff like that. It's a complete night and day difference. But even then, as we saw just now, the section of virtue signaling women online are using this day and this event to tear other women down. Because how dare they vote to play this game? How dare they have fun? And how dare they meme about it? They're supposed to be offended and call us sexist or whatever. They're supposed to fall in line with the hive mind. Very pathetic behavior, very sad stuff. But thankfully, there are based women out there too that are pushing back against those other types. That is the latest though. That's the news in my opinion. Let me know what you think about all this in the comments. Thank you for tuning in, ladies and gentlemen. Appreciate ya, and I'll see you in the next one.